In this video, I'm going to show you how to record a basic macro. So a basic macro is basically just a automation of things that you might do on a regular basis. So setting up a print setting, or creating a total row, or all kinds of different things you can do. Depends on what your job is or what kind of worksheet you're working with. So I've opened up my 09 4-strong tour revenues file. And I'm going to show you how to create a simple macro. And you can take the skill, maybe not the exact macro setup, but the skill in creating a macro and take it and apply it to other worksheets. So basically, you're going to tell it to start recording. You're going to go step by step into doing the function that you want to create, or the automation that you want to do, and then stop recording, and then you can run that same thing over and over and over. You're just telling it to repeat the steps that you've already programmed. So here's how we do it. And I suggest, if you're going to do it on your own, on a real spreadsheet for work or for school or whatever, you need to rehearse it a couple times, write down the steps so that you know what to do, so you don't miss a step, because once you start recording the macro, it's difficult to go back and edit it. So we're going to go to the file that we have open, 09 4-strong tour revenues. Make sure you have the developer tab on your computer. And to do that, we need to go to File. We need to go to Options. We need to go to, we're going to customize the ribbon. And the Develop tab should already be over here on the right. All you got to do is put a check mark in the box, and then it'll appear. Hit OK. It'll appear on your ribbon, and here's my Developer tab. In the next step, so we're going to start the macro recording process. So click on your Developer tab, and you have a code section over here. Macro is one of those things. Record macro is what we're going to do. But let's go ahead and put our cursor, or select the cell that we want to start in. So we're going to go to D21. And what this macro will do is it's set up to put a subtotal row in automatically and insert several different formulas out to the right. So we're going to go back up to our Developer tab. In the code group, we're going to say find use relative references. So it's up here. Use relative references. Let's turn that on. And now we can click Record Macro. We're going to call this macro, so this button that says Record Macro, this box pops up. We're going to click Custom Subtotals. And you cannot have a space between custom and subtotals. It's got to be all one word, or you could put a underscore in there. And we're going to add, so it says shortcut key, we're going to add a capital S, and it's going to add the shift in there, because we already, Control S is already save, so it's going to add a shift in there so that we can use it as a shortcut. And we're going to store the macro in this workbook, and we're going to click OK. And here's what we're going to do. We've got to create the steps that the computer is going to use to do this over and over and over. So now, while we're on D21, I want to hit Shift plus the down arrow, Shift plus down. So it's going to select cell D21 and D22. And in the Home tab, I'm going to go over to my Insert group, and we're going to insert Sheet Rows. And you'll see you have 2 new rows. And now we're going to click Shift, or hold Shift down and click the up arrow. That way we deselect one of those cells. So our active cell is D21. In the editing group, which is over here, we're going to click this Auto Sum button. And before we hit enter, while our range of data is still selected, we want to hit the copy key. Copy. We want to hit tab. Now we're going to type in equals max, open parenthesis. We're going to hit paste. We're going to close our parenthesis, hit tab. Nope, we're not going to hit tab. We're going to go back to the left. And we're going to hit the accounting. Here we want accounting. Let's also put accounting on this one. Oops, we're over here. I'm messing up. We got to use our keyboard for the most part. Accounting. And then we can click, go back to our developer tab, hit stop recording. Then we can widen out this column. So we have a max, the max value in this selection, or in this range of cells. We also have the sum. And if we run it, let's take these 2 rows out again. So we'll delete this. Delete our rows. D21. So let's hit macros, hit run, and it put in it repeated what we had done before, and that's the whole idea. We can repeat what we've done before. And now I want to show you how to manage your macro security. So let's go to the developer tab. We're going to click on macro security, and we have settings to set up. So what we really want to do, we just want to make sure that disable all macros with notifications. So that means it's going to give us a message when we open this workbook up. If we've saved it as a macro enabled worksheet, we go to open it up. It's going to give us a warning at the top before it allows us to open. It just wants us to verify that we trust what the macro is going to do, because macros are basically, they can be harmful. They can be viruses, or they can be bad for the computer. So we're going to click OK. We're going to click File, Save. And it tells us the following features cannot be saved in macro-free workbooks. And it says Visual Basic Project. To save a file with these features, click No. So we're going to click No. If we click Yes, it's going to take our macro out. So click No. It's going to give us a Save As box. We're going to go to Browse. And to save it, instead of a Save As type Excel workbook, we're going to use an Excel macro-enabled workbook. And then save it as whatever name we want. And click Save. And that's how you set up a basic macro and set the security for your workbook.